Good morning, ultimate hustlers and digital empire builders. It is that time for the Cortez Hustle Show. And today we're talking 7 keys to a winning mindset. On this edition of Wellness Wednesdays, it's all about figuring out how we can stay well, how we can encourage entrepreneurs to take care of themselves mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, socially, any other way that we can think of, because entrepreneurs are responsible for the innovation that leads the world. So we got to know how to take care of ourselves as entrepreneurship. That's why we dedicate Wednesday to wellness right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. Do me a huge favor, comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand, and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen. And let's kick it. Yo, what's up, ultimate hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities, and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally, or I've learned from, or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor, coming to you live and direct from the Digital Empire System Studios right here in St. Louis, Missouri. Listen, if you're a coach, consultant, author, solopreneur, small business owner, service provider, and you do not have an automated system that helps you not only generate leads, but then convert those leads into paying customers on autopilot, you, my friend, need to check out digitalempiresystem.com. And it's the greatest automated system for generating leads, nurturing those leads, and then funneling those leads either into your calendar, into a sales call, or into your products and services pages on your website. It's an amazing, amazing system. I'm developing something specifically right now for authors and coaches. So if you're an author and you're a coach and you're building out your program and you're looking for a great system, check out digitalempiresystem.com. Today, we're talking, how do you develop a winning mentality, a winner's mindset? I'm going to give you 7 keys today, and maybe I'll even over deliver. But I've got I'm compelled a bit about my own personal journey and my personal testimony, as this is Wellness Wednesdays, guys. So do me a favor, hit that share button. There's an entrepreneur on your timeline who needs to understand that there's more to this entrepreneurship game than about just chasing the bag, right? What good is securing the bag if you lose your health along the way? What good is securing the bag if you lose your family and your relationship with friends along the way? What good is it securing the bag if you lose your mindset and your sanity along the way? So hit that share button, ladies and gentlemen. Also, I tell y'all every morning, comment the name of your business and or your brand. I'm starting to think that y'all are ashamed of y'all businesses. Why don't y'all comment the name of your business and or your brand in the morning? Now, I get it. Some of you guys may be driving as you're listening and getting prepared for work as you're listening, but of you guys are sitting right there with your phone in your hand saying, I don't know about my little business. I don't know if I should tell them about what I want to do. Well, if you don't know, then I certainly don't know how to help and support you. So a couple quick announcements before we get on to the meat of what we want to talk about today. Unheard TV is a new network that the Cortez, that my newest show is airing on Roku and potentially a local TV station here in St. Louis. I'm super excited about that. We're looking for sponsors across the entire network. Now, if you have a product or service that will fit good from a business to business standpoint, my new show is called the Black Biz Success Show, and it's all about tips and strategies to help Black businesses thrive and scale. If you have a product or service that a Black business owner can use, then you definitely should be advertising on my show specifically. But no matter what you're selling, you should be advertising on this network in general, because this network is the epitome of Black excellence, ladies and gentlemen. And all of the shows are getting great attention. Our numbers just doubled from 1 week to the next in terms of our reach. So we're super excited about that. So don't comment, because sometimes your comments get lost. Inbox me and let's talk about, and I'll connect you to our teams for sponsorship packages. Also, I'm looking for churches and nonprofit organizations that can use some digital marketing help. I want to volunteer some of my services and deploy some of my team to help churches and nonprofit organizations get to the next level in their marketing and get their messages out there. So if you know any, then make sure that you inbox me, introduce me to them, or you can email me at hcortez@thorntononlinemarketing.com. If they're local, I'm looking to actually get hands-on with some of my volunteer work this season. I've blocked out time to volunteer 10 times during the holiday seasons for respective organizations. So if you know local organizations that could use some hands in whatever they got going on, if it fits my schedule, I will certainly do my best. Also, I talked about the digital empire system and authors and coaches. If you are an author and your book is already out and you need help selling that book, then I need you to inbox me ASAP. If you are a coach and you have a coaching package already on your website, people can actually go and buy, I need you to inbox me ASAP, right? Because I need you to understand that I have a system that I'm willing to do a couple of test pilots and some case studies with, and I'm waiving a lot of the fees. The only fee I can't waive is the setup fee. But once we get you set up, I can coach you on how to use this new system. I can coach you on how to turn your book into a coaching program, different things like that. So if that's you, then you need to get at me ASAP. I got 10 spots that I'm willing to really work with some coaches, consultants, and some authors with this new program, the Digital Empire System. So let's connect on that if you are a coach or consultant. So you guys know how we do it, man. We start the show every single morning with the quote of the day. And today's quote: one of the most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat. Put your favorite quote in the comments. One of the most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat. That is Napoleon Hill from Think and Grow Rich. Ladies and gentlemen, defeat is temporary. Quitting, though, is permanent. And a lot of us will run up against obstacles in our way, setbacks, and especially for my Christians, man, I gotta hit y'all with this. As a fellow Christian entrepreneur, it is very easy, if you're not really in tune with the Creator, it's very easy to hit a roadblock, hit a stumbling block, have a setback. And the first thing that Christians like to say is, oh, it must not be meant. God must not want me to have that, right? No, God really wants you to have that. That's why He put that test in your way, to make sure you develop the strength to be able to sustain it when you get it. Have you ever thought about it like that? Yeah, no, He wants you to have it, but right now you can't handle it. So He put a test in your way to strengthen you so that when you get it, you can handle it. but you saw the test as a way out, as a way to give up, to give in, to quit. You cannot quit when you're overtaken by temporary defeat. You have to. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to be committed to the process. You have to decide and be determined that you're going to stay in the game no matter what. So when that temporary defeat shows itself, then you're like, okay, I fell down. I'm going to get back up, go back to the drawing board, and I'm going to make this thing happen. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. And the quote of the day is brought to you by the Cortez Hustle Challenge. If you guys are looking for ways to make a few extra dollars, then go to CortezHustleChallenge.com and learn about our marketing program and system where you can become an affiliate marketer and learn how to promote products and services online to make you a few extra dollars. Who couldn't use a few extra dollars this holiday season? I know I most certainly can. So be sure to go and check that out, ladies and gentlemen. CortezHustleChallenge.com, or I'll put a link in the show notes and the description as well. So we're talking developing a winning mentality, right? And I put an article in the comment for you guys to check out, but I found this article on entrepreneur.com, and I thought it was pretty cool. 8 traits to having a winning mindset. And the author is Daniel Colombo. And this was written as we were entering the full-blown pandemic last year, 2020. So as in all aspects of life, there are essential ingredients for success. So what are these ingredients for success and developing a winning mindset, right? Some of these are ingredients as listed by Daniel are passion, enthusiasm, optimism, inner strength, perseverance, right? Let's just look at some of those. List one thing that you're passionate about in the comments. Because here's the problem that I found. When it comes to passion, right? People are passionate about some of the strangest things. Believe it or not, they let that scare them, that frightens them, because it's like, why am I passionate about that? Sometimes they're so passionate about things that are so strange, it also embarrasses them. But I believe that your passion's sole responsibility is to lead you to your purpose, right? That's why you have that passion. And when you can clearly map out a path to turn that passion into some sort of reward, whether it is income, whether that passion rewards you in volunteerism, whether that passion gets you open doors to do other things in your life, I think you stick with that passion long enough, it's going to lead you to your purpose. And when you find your purpose, you also find your provision. And that's incredibly important. A lot of people are working jobs that have nothing to do with their purpose, and they can't figure out why they're so frustrated on the job. They can't figure out why or how to be satisfied, content, and happy on a job, because it in no way fulfills you. That's why it's going to be incredibly tough if you can't link that job to something in your purpose. And here's what I was able to do. I linked my job to my purpose as a father, right? My purpose as a father, the reason God created me as a man and a father is to be a provider and protector for my family. So I linked my job to that, and it allowed me to go in and do my job and have the right attitude on the job and perform that job well enough to feed my family, right? So I was able to pull fulfillment out of the fact that I was performing my duty, my God-given duty of providing for and protecting my family, right? Good morning, Bryant Woods. I see you, brother. So that was hugely important. So if your job isn't connected to something that you're passionate about, find a way to connect it to something that is meaningful to you so that it gives you an extra spark in the morning and get up and go to that job. But you got to have passions, people, and you can't be afraid of letting those passions shine forth. Enthusiasm, man, this is one of those things when you clearly identify your passion, and your passion is allowing you, or you're walking or you're pursuing that passion. It's what gets me up in the morning as I'm building this digital empire, and this media company that will surpass Ted Turner and Walt Disney someday. It gets me up in the morning to do this show, right? It's a passion, and success loves two things. It loves speed and it loves enthusiasm. I want y'all to write that down, because you got to get that. Success loves two things. It loves speed and it loves enthusiasm. A lot of people are missing the enthusiasm. A lot of people are missing a fire that they should be moving through this life with, right? And when you have the passion and enthusiasm, then success is on its way. Optimism is another one of those key ingredients. And we're going to get to the 7 keys to a winning mindset, right? But these are some of the ingredients that you have to have. I want to break these down even further as we get into the meat of the conversation, right? But optimism is one of those ingredients that is sorely lacking in a lot of people's lives, right? Your ability to see things as they can be, your ability to see the silver lining amongst every storm, your ability to see greatness in people. Optimism is critical. Now, you can't be naive and think that everybody is good, every situation is good, right? I call it the 95-5 rule, right? If you think about our media says, and I was just watching, I don't know why I was watching the news. I think the remote control fell under the bed or something. I didn't turn the TV. I don't normally watch the news, but the way normal news media, and even all of media to some extent, right? It shows you 95% of the time the 5% of negativity that's going on in your local community and even nationally. So if 95% of the time all I hear about is the bad that's going on, I would assume that the world is 95% bad. I want you to think about that. If all I see on my TV is murder, is carjacking, is robbery, is negativity in this aspect and that aspect, I would think the world is going to hell in a handbasket. That's what I see 95% of the time. And 5% of the time, they show you a little blip of something positive. Little Johnny got straight A's and won the robotics challenge, right? 5% of the time. So I'm thinking that the world is 95% bad and 5% good. It's not true. That's just what they're showing you. You got to figure out for yourself and know what it is for real, right? And you got to see that in your personal life as well. A lot of times we will take the negative that's going on in our personal lives and we focus on that 95% of the time. And we only focus on 5% of the good. So we think that our lives are 95% bad. No, man. You got to focus on the good. And you'll see that 95% of the things that happen in your life are positive. 5% are bad, right? And when you walk through your life with that outlook and you see that 95% of the things that happen in my life is positive, it's good, I see the good and the positive in everything and everybody else, right? Inner strength and perseverance. Man, you got to have perseverance, man, if you're going to win. And I promise we're going to get to our 7 keys. You got to have perseverance, right? What's the difference between persistence and perseverance? Persistence says, I'm going to keep going when things get tough. Perseverance says, things have gotten so tough that I've actually gotten knocked on my butt, right? There's a difference when something gets in your way and you got to figure out how to go around it, or go through it, or go over it. There's another thing when something actually knocks you down, sets you back a few feet. Perseverance says, I'm going to get up, I'm going to dust myself off, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to get up, I'm going to dust myself off, and I'm going to keep going. You got to have that, man. Life is full of ups and downs, mostly ups, but the downs hurt. The downs are embarrassing. The downs can, if you're not careful, cause you to slip into a depression. The downs can, if you're not careful, cause you to think that something is wrong with you, right? But the key is you got to have perseverance. So we're going to get into our 7 keys of developing a winning mentality and winning mindset. But we're going to start now because it is 7:21. Let's go ahead and jump into 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. And if you're new to the show, every episode we do this 1 minute motivation where I play a short motivational video. I ask you to comment one of your biggest takeaways. I'm going to give you a couple of my takeaways as well. So let's get into 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show.
What do you think, if you think about that idea of skill set and mindset, what's your edge over everyone else?
I'm sure a lot of athletes that have, obviously achieved an amount of success, I think when their doubt creeps in, or there's naysayers, or there's doubters, I think the best thing that I ever did, obviously, I think, was believe in myself. That's first and foremost. I saw and I listened to what the coach, said, and they saw in me, which was a lot of potential. And I just wanted to build on that. And so with me, I think, if I didn't have the coaches that pushed me beyond really kind of, I think, my own limits or my own expectations, I don't think that I would have become the receiver that I became. I don't think I would have been this guy that became T.O.
Back and fires up the middle. Pass is caught by Owens. Owens made the catch.
And I think after my 3rd year in the league, after I made the catch against the Green Bay Packers, I think that instilled a lot of confidence in myself that I could play, and I could play on a big stage. It didn't start out particularly well, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Hoo-wee. I hope y'all heard that. Some of us stumbled out of the gate. And the only reason we're still stumbling today is we're still looking back at the gate. Oh, y'all got to get that. Some of us, when it comes to business, when it comes to our marriage, when it comes to our parenting of our children, when it comes to our community involvement, our impact, when it comes to our spiritual life, our church, whatever it is that we aimed and set out to do, some of us stumbled out of the gate, right? And we're still stumbling to this day. And the only reason we're stumbling is because we're still looking back at the gate. We're still looking back, trying to figure out what tripped me up. Why did I stumble? Who tripped me? Who put something in my way that caused me to stumble out of the gate? No, man. You stumble, pick your head up and look forward and regain your balance, and let's run. Let's go. And I know it's challenging for a lot of people, but as the old saying goes, there's a reason that your windshield is 300 times bigger than your rearview mirror. Stop looking backwards at what tripped you up in the past, what mistakes you made, and the things that you didn't accomplish, and the things that caused you to fall and to set you back. Because it ain't how you start, right? That's only going to make for a greater and a bigger testimony. Start looking ahead, right? He also said the number one thing he had to do was believe in himself. You got to believe in yourself, right? You got to learn how to believe in yourself. Your track record for overcoming obstacles in your life is 1,000. You are batting 1,000 because you're here. I heard Steve Harvey talk about that. He's like, man, if if you really look at it and you look back at all of the things that you've come through and overcome in your life, if you're here, that means you overcame them. That means you're batting 1,000. That means 100% of the obstacles that showed their ugly face, that reared their ugly head, you overcame them. So you have a success track record of 100% when it comes to overcoming and getting through and out of challenges, right? That is the key. But one of the things that I've been able to do to help me continue to feed my belief is I look at the things that I've overcome already. I call them the Red Sea moments in my life. The children of Israel, when they came through the Red Sea and started going through the wilderness, it wasn't a few days past them walking through the Red Sea on dry land that they were complaining about what God wasn't doing for them. And all they had to do is look back and remember, listen, if he could part the Red Sea, then sure he can provide water for us in this wilderness. If he can part this Red Sea, sure he can provide food for us as we're on our way to the promised land. Some of us will look back in our lives at the negative and allow that to pull us down, but we'll never look back in our lives at the things that we've achieved and allow that to fuel us and propel us forward. No, man, the only thing I'm looking back for is the lesson and the achievement to draw inspiration. Oh, I remember when I couldn't do this, and then I figured it out, and boom, that's going to give me some inspiration for today, right? Skill set. I'm going to say it this way, and this is from my girl Tracy Walker. She said, mindset without skill set will leave you upset. But to have skill set without mindset will leave you penniless. I'll say it one more time. Mindset without skill set will leave you upset, right? I got the mentality to build an empire and a legacy for my family, but I may not have the skill sets necessary to do that. So that's going to keep me upset and frustrated. But the mindset says keep going. But if you have the skill set without the mindset, it's going to leave you penniless. Because when you don't have the right mindset, I don't care how skilled you are, you're going to quit. You're going to quit. Those are just the facts, ladies and gentlemen. So that is 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by digitalempiresystem.com. If you don't have a system for your business that allows you to automatically connect with your leads within 5 minutes, you can be on the phone with your leads. If you don't have a system that allows you to automatically have those leads book appointments with you on your calendar and you follow up, if you don't have a system that allows your customers to automatically leave you a review on Google so you can keep your reputation managed, if you don't have the ability to text your customers right to their phone with special offers and things of that nature, you need to go to digitalempiresystem.com and watch a demo. There's a demo right on that homepage. Go to digitalempiresystem.com and watch a demo and see how this system can change your business. So we're talking 8 or 7 keys. I'm saying 8 because I do have a bonus. So 8 keys to a winning mindset. I put a link to this article in the comments. Yeah, I see you, Bryant. You say, yeah, you got to look ahead and push forward. You absolutely got to. Number 1 on the list, all right? So we're talking winning people are those who take risks and go for their dreams and goals, that they conquer the objectives, and at the same time that they have the ability, innate or acquired, to strengthen themselves when something does not go as planned. A lot of times people think that winners don't lose. right? That's a big misconception. People think winners don't lose, right? We look at somebody like Michael Jordan, and we know that he is 6-0 in the NBA Finals, but in his entire playoff career, he lost in the playoffs more than he won. Because he had that Bulls team in the playoffs almost every year. But they only got 6 championships out of it. That means they lost a lot in those playoffs when they couldn't get past the Knicks, when they couldn't get past Indiana. It's not that winners don't lose. It's that they have a different response to losing. We know Tom Brady got what, 7 rings? Right? It's crazy. He got all of these championship rings. But you know, there was also a span where he went 10 years between rings, between championships. That means he lost in a couple of Super Bowls too. He lost in a couple championship games before he got to the Super Bowl. It's not that winners don't lose. It's their response to losing is different. What they do have in common is a winning mind. The brain, with its 2 hemispheres, operates what the mind commands. So let's go into number 1. We're talking about developing a winning mindset. Number 1, clear goals. Somebody could write these down in the chat. That'd be amazing. Number 1, clear goals. Winners are extremely precise regarding the objectives to be achieved. They spend a lot of time designing their purpose and adjusting anything that throws them off course. Do you have clear goals? Do you have clear objectives? You got to learn how, as a winner, to start with the end in mind and work your way backwards, right? Speaking of the Bulls, the end in mind was the championship, but they had to get through 3 teams to get there, right? So the end was the championship. They started getting through the first round. Boom, and they had the second round. Couldn't get past Indiana, couldn't get past New York or whoever it was. That's okay. All right. So the end of the game, the goal never changed, was a championship, but then they had to go back and create the steps. All right. Step 1 is we got to approach whoever's the first in the first round. Then we got to approach whoever's in the second round. And then we got to get to the Eastern Conference Championship. That's a whole different beast. What is our plan for that? And then we got to get into the NBA Finals, and then we got to win it. They permanently evaluate their performance, not comparing themselves with others, but with themselves. They have a high standard of excellence in everything they do. We're talking about the 8 traits of a winning mindset. Do you have these things in your life? Let me know the one that you need to add more of, right? This is a big one for me, is clearly defining the goals, right? One of the things that happens with creative entrepreneurs like myself, right? I'm more of a creative than a analytical entrepreneur. So I have to make sure that my creativity is focused, right? I heard Elon Musk explain it like this, and it's so hit me hard. He said, somebody asked him about his creative genius and all of these ideas that he has, and where does he come up with this stuff? And he explained it like this, and this is so true for a lot of us who are creative entrepreneurs. He said, yes, it's a blessing and a curse, though, to be this creative. He said, because it's like having a never-ending explosion going on in your head. And I had never been able to capture what I feel inside in my mind. I have never been able to capture it and put it in words until I heard him say that. And I was like, Cortez, that's you, bro, all day. Like, the way I see the world and problems As an entrepreneur, I want to solve those problems, but as a creative, I have creative ways to solve those problems. It is literally like I have a never-ending explosion going on inside my head, right? So the key is, how do I take the energy of this never-ending explosion and focus it at a specific point and make that thing a success, right? So number one, if you're going to have a clear, or if you're going to have a winning mindset, you got to understand how to create clear goals. What is it that you want to do? And then how do you then take the end goal, reverse engineer it all the way back to where you are now with a step-by-step plan? And then each step within that plan becomes a micro goal. That's huge. Number two, we're talking about the 8 traits of a winning mindset. Number two, self-confidence. Self-confidence. Winning-minded people trust themselves and their potential. All right, I put the link to this article. This is from entrepreneur.com. The link to this article is in the actual comments and in the show notes. Winning-minded people trust themselves and their potential. They tend to have a high tolerance for frustration, disappointment, and failure, of which they recover quickly. Yeah, like I said before, it's not that winners don't lose, but here's their response to losing. They have a high tolerance for frustration, disappointment, and failure, which they recover quickly. Right? I listened to Stephen Jackson's podcast with, I forget the other brother's name. It's escaping me right now. But they talk a lot about Kobe Bryant, especially when Kobe Bryant, suddenly passed in that helicopter accident. And they talked about his work ethic and how he would be at the game 2 hours, 3 hours before the game, working out hard, then hang 60 on a team. And if he misses a free throw down the stretch, or he misses a shot down the stretch, or he makes an error down the stretch, they could win the game and he'll be in the gym after that game is over, shooting that shot that he missed over and over and over again, right? Winners have a different mentality about losing, and they have a self-confidence that is through the roof. They know that they could be betrayed and envied, and that this is part of the game of life. You got to have a thick skin, and you got to have your beliefs so lined up that you can care less about what other people think about you, right? You remember when Kobe Bryant came into the league out of high school? Right? Do you understand? For those of you who play sports, you probably do. The amount of confidence you have to come into a situation as an 18-year-old kid playing a game with grown men and believing not only that you belong there, but believing that you can dominate. Kevin Garnett, same way. What about LeBron James? 18-year-old kid was asked to not only come into a league and play against grown men, was asked to come into a league, play and dominate against grown men, but in LeBron James's case, asked to come into a league, play and dominate against grown men, and lead an entire franchise as an 18-year-old kid. The Lakers were not at the bottom of the barrel when Kobe came, right? They had a winning team. When LeBron came into the league, the Cleveland Cavaliers were at the bottom of the league, and they basically said, kid, we're going to put this entire franchise on your 18-year-old back, and we're going to need you to lift us. And he did. And he did. So self-confidence is huge, and you got to figure out how to pull inspiration from your little wins, right? To help grow that confidence. Number 3, we're talking 8 keys to a winning mindset. A positive self-image is number 3. Do you have a positive self-image? We all are who we are today based solely on the narrative that is playing in our head on repeat about ourselves. Primarily about ourselves. We have a narrative that we play about other people or what we think other people think, but we are who we are. The decisions that we make, the way we see the world, all of that is based on this narrative that we have in our heads playing on a loop about ourselves. Self-image is the internal representation of who you are and what you want when you look in the mirror. Winning-minded people can see beyond. They know how to self-observe in depth, enhance the good, and improve what they still lack. What do you see when you look in the mirror? And I can't help but think about that image of the kitty cat, right? Who looks in the mirror and he sees a lion. When you look in the mirror, do you see a lion? The conversation that you have with yourself about yourself, is it positive? I can't remember the guy who he talks about the 80-20 rule and about because the world primarily is going to have all the criticism, especially for those of us who have decided to do something great. The world 80% of the time is going to talk to you about what you could do better. You don't need to be talking to yourself that way. 80% of the time, you need to be celebrating your wins. Now, you can't be all cocky as if there is no room for improvement. 20% of the time, you need to be kicking yourself in the butt and being brutally honest with yourself, saying, bro, you know you messed it up. Yeah, you got a halfway positive result, but you were ill prepared. You threw something together at the last minute and it worked out, but you better than that. 20% of the time, you got to have that conversation with yourself. Most of us, though, are having that conversation with ourselves about every little thing that we do, and we never take time to pat ourselves on the back. Mel Robbins, if you're not familiar with, she's a great inspiration, motivational leader, influencer, and she has this 5-second rule book and whole program, right, that she put together. But another thing that I heard her say on a motivational speech one time, she said, every time I pass myself in the mirror, I give myself a high five. And I thought that was so amazing because we don't often give ourselves enough credit for our wins. In a world that teaches us to be modest, in a world that teaches us to be humble, sometimes we are too humble, so humble that we will not even give ourselves a pat on the back for major wins, right? Latrice says we don't. I appreciate that. Welcome to the stream, Latrice. We don't give ourselves enough credit. We don't pat ourselves on the back because the world tells us, right, that it's gloating. It is braggadocious to go out and say, I just won a championship. I just hit the game-winning shot. Yeah, I'm celebrating. I'm psyched out of my mind. The world says, no, be humble. And because it's telling us constantly to be humble, we tend to be a little too humble. And we don't celebrate our own wins enough. We spend way too much time beating ourselves up over the things that we got wrong, right? And we can attribute this to our school system as well, right? It's all psychological. I'm not going to go down this road, but I got to say this. The way our school system is taught to bring us up from the time we are 3 and 4 years old, there's a lot of psychology that goes into, like, you can get a 90% on a test in school. And instead of celebrating the 90%, you'll mull over the 10% that you got wrong. Our school system taught us that failure was a negative thing. They totally disconnected failure from the success process, right? The moment you got that first big red X on your paper, it came with a lot of shame. It came with a lot of embarrassment. And from that moment on, fear started to creep in that I don't never want to feel this again. So to keep from feeling the shame of getting something wrong, I won't even answer at all. That's why kids don't raise their hand. Because shame and embarrassment is associated with failure. And they're not taught enough that our great inventors and leaders failed tens of thousands of times to develop the chops to win. And if they were taught that, they will raise their hand more so they can get those failures out of their system faster. But that's a whole nother discussion for a different day, right? Number 4, self-awareness, right? We're talking about 8 traits of a winning mentality. How do you develop a winning mindset? You do these 8 things. Self-awareness. They maintain a very high energy level all the time, so they have a greater awareness of how they are at all times. They have their routines for moments of total disconnection according to their personality. Doing sports, spending as much time as possible with family and friends and life, spending time in nature, meditating, reading books. They are totally self-aware. I know where I win at. I know where I'm a 10 at. I know where I'm a 2 at. Right? How self-aware are you? And when I say self-aware, I'm talking about that internal you that only you know, not the you that somebody else has told you that you are. Because this is important for us to understand. We have a lot of times created within us an image that somebody else gave us. And we got to shed that. Listen, the true definition of power is to be able to define someone else or something else and have them adopt that definition as if they created it themselves. So when somebody else can tell you that you ain't ish and have you believing that you determine that for yourself, that's power. And there's a lot of puppet masters out here pulling strings and defining people, individual groups, and having them adopt those definitions. Like, who told Black people that we live in ghettos? Huh? Who told Black people that we were hood, that we were thugs? Somebody gave us that definition, and over time, we adopted that definition as if we came up with it ourselves. True definition of power. And everybody in our lives, whether it was a parent, a coach, a mentor, or somebody gave us a definition or an identity that we've adopted as our own, and that might be far from who you really are. So you got to get into your self-awareness closet and start to reevaluate who you really are as an individual. Number 5, internal strength. Any achievement is based on a winning mindset. The principle has been acquired through trial and error. Since in general, conventional education does not support the emotional structure. So winning-minded people know what they need to activate inside to propel themselves without straying too far from the target. What does your inner strength look like? What is your routine for developing your inner strength? For me, it's always listening to other winners. I listen to so much positive and motivational stuff because all I want to feel my spirit, right, is that, right? The Bible talks about out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? And if you don't know that your words have power, then you got to do some investigating on the power. And people say, Cortez, a lot of that stuff you are hearing over and over and over again. It's like one of the things I do when I get up 3 or 4 days a week, I work out in the morning and I listen to these motivational compilations on YouTube because it's easy for me that right on my phone, YouTube algorithm knows me. So the first thing it shows me in the morning is one of those motivational videos. And I just play it. And a lot of times it's clips of some of the same stuff that I heard over and over. And people are like, man, don't you get tired of that? No, because I want that to be in the well of my heart. So when I go through a difficult time, I want that to come out versus some negativity to come out, right? Latrice said, I'm trying to find my way. And that's part of the self-awareness on the journey, Latrice. It's like, okay, I know I need to find my way. That's the first place to start, right? You go to any 12-step program, what is the first thing they have you do? Identify yourself and identify your problem. My name is Latrice Brown, and I'm lost. I'm trying to find my way. And everybody else is going to say, hi, Latrice. Right? That's the key. Self-awareness is the key. So your internal strength. Number 6, self-determination, right? Self-determination. They are permanently affirmed in their strength and not in their weaknesses. Permanently affirmed in their strength and not in their weaknesses. They do not victimize themselves and go to the front without neglecting that there may be others who find it difficult to keep up. They are also skilled and quick in decision making, a trait that leaves the environment surprised. Be quick to make decisions and slow to change your mind. Wealthy people, successful people, they're quick to make a decision and they're slow to change their minds. Losers, poor people, middle-class people who are not ready yet for that ascension, they take forever to make up their mind, to make a decision, and then they're quick to change their mind and go away from that decision. Oh, I hope y'all caught that. Successful people make decisions quickly and they're slow to change their mind. Unsuccessful people take forever to make a decision and they're quick to change their mind. That's huge. Number 7, self-assessment. This trait of people with a winning mindset is based on trusting that they have all the necessary resources to succeed, even when they do not know how to continue or in the face of failure. I need to write this down if y'all taking notes, right? All it takes is all you got. And all you got is enough. When I coach youth basketball, I would have my kids chant before every game. What does it take to win is the question I would ask them. And their response to me was, all it takes is all I got. What does it take to win? All it takes is all I got. What does it take to win? All it takes is all I got. What does it take to win? All it takes is all I got. And coach, all I got is enough. And if no one has told you that all you got is enough, let me be the first to tell you today. Everything that you need to win this next battle, the battle that you're in, everything that's required for you to win is already there. I liken it to a video game. Some of you guys, if you've ever played video games, like I came up playing Mario Brothers, right? And you would get to the end and you have to fight the dragon at the end, and you would lose over and over and over again. And you'd be like, I can't beat this board. And it's like, no, there's no way that the game designer built a board in the game that is incapable of being conquered. Everything you need to win that board is in that board. The battle that you're in right now, everything that you need to win that battle, you already have it. You may not know that you have it. You may have particular skill sets and tools that you haven't used in a while, but everything that you need to win the battle that you are in right now, you already have it. Number 8, self-discipline. When they commit, they go deep. They always act in direction to achieve what they seek. They are determined and rarely hesitate to define crucial issues. They have a good relationship with the risk-opportunity factor. They are usually ordered or surround themselves with people who help them in their high performance to focus, in that case, on what gives them the most pleasure and what they do best. Self-discipline. We are on episode number 202. And I don't need my coach or mentor to wake me up and tell me to come in my office, in my studio at the house, and do an episode of the Cortez Hustle Show. It's self-discipline, right? I don't need somebody else to tell me that I should be studying marketing. So I'm reading books like Traffic Secrets, Experts. I don't need somebody else to tell me that I should be studying if I want to build a media empire that will surpass Ted Turner and Walt Disney. I don't need somebody else to tell me that I should be in the trenches doing the work. Self-discipline. My goals and my position and where I am in position to those goals is telling me what I need to be doing every day, right? So hopefully you guys got something out of this today. Develop a winning mentality. Tomorrow we have Nathan Bynum on the show. And if you have a website, he's going to be talking about how to add certain elements to your website to make your website profitable. So I'm super excited to have that conversation. But go out and develop a winning mentality. If you need to listen to this episode over and over again and get these 8 keys down, then do just that. But in the meantime, and in between time, until I talk to you next time, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.